was very much touched by Dr. Luxman's central sentence, democracy but not democratic players. And this is a very crucial issue that you explained to us, how much is really the democratic behavior of accepting also minority positions. How do you value this in Iraq? Can you shortly answer that?
Well, I will repeat what I meant actually. Although there are groups that can be classified as minorities in Iraq, but when it comes to politics, I think there is a kind of party politics rather than politics that takes care of the minorities or trying to marginalize minorities. So if a person belongs to a minority and belongs to an influential political party, he still will be influential because he belongs to this political party. He's no more a minority. Because, again, politics is based on loyalty to political parties. It is party politics. And even though they say we try to safeguard the interests of our communities to the communities to which they belong, the people of these communities discredit most of these players, political players. They say they don't represent us. So there is this problem of representation, and whether the political players represent the communities they claim to represent or not.
When you are going to form a majority government, do the parties who are going to be in opposition fear that they will be so much marginalized and do not have a chance to get into government, maybe after the next elections?
This is absolutely what is happening now. Even though some of the parties are part of the majority community, they feel that the winning party is going to marginalize them, they are going to weaken them, so they will no more have power to survive for the next elections. They will lose their power positions because their politics is not based on programs, on ideologies. It is based on the claim that they try to protect the community's interests, which is not accepted by the communities themselves. So they don't have followers, they don't have supporters. They have only interests. If they are in power, they can use these interests to gain supporters. If they are out of power, they cannot use the assets or the resources in order to survive. That's why it is an existential problem for most of them. Without power, they cannot exist.
So there's also no tradition. We have here, we have three parties which have ideological differences here, Social Democrats, Greens, and Liberals, but they sit together 3 weeks and they make a coalition contract, and then they follow this line. And everybody knows what is the intention of their politics and how they are going to do that. I see that in Iraq there is no tradition of this, and you also don't see that perhaps they say we make a contract, but we do not follow what has been written. Is this?
Yeah, unfortunately, you cannot classify parties in Iraq as conservative or liberal or Democrats or whatever. They started as parties representing ethnic groups or religious groups, and they grown up with these traditions. Then they all of a sudden said that we are democratic, we are nationalists, but these are just claims that are not based on ideologies. So these traditions have not yet been established, and you cannot define these parties along these lines.
I also have to explain to you, or wish to explain to you, what Dr. Axel said about, the Weimar Republic. This is between 1919 and 1933, the second German experience of parliamentaristic democracy on here. It did not succeed, not because of the constitution was, in comparison to other European constitutions, not so bad. It did not succeed because there were not enough Democrats, who really practice parliamentarism. And secondly, there was no financial and economic growth afterwards. People were suffering nearly through all the years because of economic crisis, of poverty, and there was no reconciliation between, the new, let me say, political system and economic progress. To have this in mind, and it compares a little bit, when I see the Iraqi people, how they are in social and economic crisis since years, How can you reconcile their faith into the political system when it does not deliver? Yeah, for the people. Yeah, and one second. And our third parliamentary experiment after the Second World War did only succeed, and we must be very honest here as Germans, because of the gradual economic growth over 20, 30, 40 years, that in the end the West Germans said, you know, this system is good because it brings me bread home, my car, my house, yeah, education and service. Yeah?
Let's say if you are not...
Please, yes.